Hi, guys. The StreamYard tells me that I am live and I'm showing myself on the IOD page and also at the same time on my own page, Liza Jane Designs. I am Liz. I don't see anyone tuned in yet, so I'll kind of wait on intros for a few seconds, checking things out here. I am coming to you today from my home. Just one of those crazy weeks again. So I'm hoping that I have everything I need to make this work. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining. I'm Liz from Liza Jane Designs in Afton, Minnesota. Today I'm coming to you from my kitchen in St. Mary's Point, Minnesota, which is kind of a suburb of Afton, I guess. Afton has a population of a few thousand, I think, and St. Mary's Point is about 300 people. But we're all kind of all close together here in the St. Croix River Valley that encompasses Minnesota and far western Wisconsin, right in the middle of the state. So welcome to the IOD page today, where, because I'm coming to you from my kitchen, I'm just on a wing and a prayer that I remembered all the supplies we're going to need today. I'm going to bring on this second camera and make it the bigger one, I hope, by doing this. Always messing with, let's see, there's two pictures here. Hello, my viewers. Please come on and say hi. I totally love to see your comments and know who's watching and where you're watching from. I'm broadcasting from the north part of our country here in the USA. I am using StreamYard, which is a great program, but I am still totally getting used to it. Today, we're going to be working on some wood slices, pretty basic Christmas stuff. But I think they're so fun, and you can do so much with the embellishments that you use. I am experimenting right on live video today. These are things that are new to me. I just got these bigger wood slices, like literally, or littery, as my 8-year-old grandson Evan would say. They literally just arrived from the Postal Service. So I opened the box and I'm going to paint these slightly bigger. These are kind of 3.5 to 4 inch wood slices. I've got to grab a paintbrush behind me. I've got so many plans in the works, you guys, for Christmas things, but this is what I decided here last minute for this morning. Hi, Gracie. So the first thing I'm doing is painting the inside of this wood round or wood cut circle. I like to leave wood on the edge and just sort of organically go around that circle, leaving not a perfect circle, but a nice edge that corresponds to the bark there. So can you see that? I'm just, here we go. I'm using a flat brush and going around that edge, not quite to the edge. And I'm using a chalk style paint. I think this is pretty white. But I've also, for Christmas, I've also used black with some transfers on them. We'll see what this guy becomes later. And I'm going to let this paint dry. I have somewhere here a tin can filled with water to put my brush in. I think I'll use up some of this. This is I didn't like how it came out last year, so I'm using it again. You can see the red stain around it. I'm just painting over that, hide some of that red that's peeking through. I don't want it on there right now. My hair's falling out and it's in there. Well, it could be the dog's hair too, but we'll get the hair out of the paint. There we go. I'm going to find my tin can filled with water to put this brush in. I usually come live to you from the shop, which is just a mile down the road, but I have dog sitting duties today and other stuff going on. Hey, Sherry, so good to see you here. So here's the thing. I have these small, kind of 2.5-inch wood circles that I wanted to play around with stamping and embossing for Christmas gifts. But any of my Christmas stamps were just too darn big. So I am pulling out some old ones today, and I am using here we have the Wreath Builder Classic. It has gorgeous designs that aren't specifically Christmas, but I feel like if I use reds and greens or whatever your Christmas decor colors are, use those colors and you can turn about anything into Christmas. So I'm pulling the smaller of the Classic Wreath Builder. There's how many of them? 2, 4, 6, 7 different designs that if you put them together will make a round circle for a wreath. But if you use parts of them, you can have swags or just individual flowers. And what I'm going to use today is some embossing ink. This is a Ranger product. So any kind of embossing ink will do. And, this is an experiment. It could go all bad here. Oh, thanks, Gracie. Yeah, I love riding my bike to the shop when I can. It's getting a little chilly for that. At least today it's just like 30-ish. Too cold for me to ride my bike. So I'm taking the top part of this smallest Wreath Builder stamp, and I can barely see it. If I wiggle it, like maybe you can see the shininess. I don't know, but it's there. So I have used the smaller stamp and an embossing ink. I'm going to grab a different stamp while that one dries. I will use still from the Wreath Builder. I'm going to use it's grapes and grape leaves. So I'm going to pull that one off. But when I do this, I'm going to paint it in colors that make it seem like it's holly berries and just more Christmassy. So I'm going to take a part of this and I'm just focusing in on this one part of the stamp that I want to use, putting that, and then coming in on this one and only stamping a part of it, just that it's got some grapes, which I hope when I paint them red, they will appear as if they are holly berries. And I'm going to paint the grape leaves like they're evergreens. Closing up the embossing ink, I'm going to go throw these in the sink because that embossing ink is really kind of like a glue, I think. And and I don't want my stamps to get wrecked. So I have also, I don't know where, I got this at Joann's, I think, but anywhere, Amazon, Joann's, Michael's. I'm sprinkling embossing powder onto the ink. I've never really gotten too much of the hang of embossing. This is a new thing to me, but I tried it once and I liked how it looked. I come to all of this home decor and furniture from fiber arts and fine arts, and I've done fabric dyeing and all sorts of things like that. And when I use the embossing powder with watercolor or any kind of watered down paints here, it reminds me of batik, which is a look I totally love. So you guys, I am going to, hi Shannon, gonna make some noise here with, also I'm at home. My craft guns are all at the shop. This is a real heavy duty heat gun. I hope I don't melt my vinyl tablecloth. I hope I don't. I'm gonna hold it away. I hope you can still hear me here. I'm holding it away just to try to get this piece embossed. I think I'll take it off of the vinyl and just put it on my wood table here. So if the table starts to smoke, we're in trouble. But I'm just trying to melt that embossing. Oh yeah, it's melting. We're getting the embossing going with the heat gun. I don't know if you can see. Can you see it? Can you see the shimmeriness at all? Hi, Terry. But it is shiny now, so I know the embossing powder has activated. I'm going to set it away a little bit and grab the other one we did, put it on the wood table so we don't melt the plastic, and just kind of emboss that area. When it starts to shine and melt is what I guess it's doing. We're melting those little embossing powder granules. When they're shiny and activated, I'll turn off the gun. There. Okay, sorry for the noise, but sometimes we have to do those things, right? So these are stamped, painted white, stamped with the embossing ink, and now I have activated that embossing powder, and these are ready for me to add some color. I want to let them cool a tiny bit and get one of the bigger, nope, gun's going again because I want to dry, make sure my chalk paint is dry on this one. Yeah, this gun is pretty intense. This is an intense heat gun for all the construction things. But if we work carefully with it, it still works well. We're going to throw in a bonus fall stamp. This one is actually, I think this might be from the grapes mold. I bought these 3 to 4 inch wood rounds specifically to do some fall stamping. So let's throw that in here as a bonus. We have our ones we're turning into Christmas, and I want to do like a gratitude garland. So my thought for this, I'm just inking up with the embossing ink that is clear. I think it's kind of gluey. So that's why as soon as I ink this, I'm going to throw the stamp into some soapy water at my sink. So, oops, there was some dark ink on there and it's showing up. I'm okay with that. I'm going to sprinkle the embossing powder on there. And I don't know, this is how it works for me. If I had a bigger slice of paper, that would probably be good. But I have this small piece of paper, so I am using it to save my embossing powder. I'll put it back in the jar. But now it is on the leaf. And we're going to hit that with that heat gun again. Away from the plastic. Let me throw this in the sink. Bring up just the wood of my table. If I was a better shot, I would do a jump shot here. But I'm not. So there. Trip to the sink. Now I'm back. Let's get this guy embossed. So all of my wood rounds are painted with a chalky paint. I'm going to use some watercolor paint. I could use watered down chalk paint. Maybe I'll grab some of that just to see the difference, if there is a difference. I'm waiting to see the shininess on the embossing so I know that my granules of embossing powder have melted. Oh, hi, Lori from Ohio. It's great to have you here. Fall has definitely arrived for us here in the St. Croix River Valley. If I happen to be your stockist, if you're here in my area, I know Sherry is one of my favorite customers here. I hope you'll come see me at Liza Jane Designs. But if you are in a different part of the country or a different part of the world, it's nice to try to find a local stockist. I mean, many of us do ship, but I think you save on shipping if you find someone close to you. But the best part of finding someone close is that you can have a relationship and really, get to know that person and learn from them. We love to work with our customers. So go to the Iron Orchid Designs website and find the retail locator, the stockist locator. You will be able to find someone near you who sells and teaches, most likely. So I'm going back to the first couple that we did, and I'm laying on a little bit of water over the embossed image. I have a tiny tin that has some watercolor paints. Let's see, and I have other watercolor paints right behind me too. You don't have to use watercolor. It's what I had handy. So it is what I'm using this morning. I will probably try to grab a little bit of watered down chalk paint because I think most of us also use chalk paint. So for me, creating is about using what I have, using what I find, and just seeing what I can do with it. The challenge and the excitement comes from using creativity to make something new and make something that I'm going to be proud to display in my home. Or I don't know, it's not coming out great, you guys, but I'm going to smear it around a little more and just go over. Not every project is a success. I'm going over where I have embossed, and let's just see what happens if I do that and then wipe away. My kitchen towels are, I don't know, it's not coming out like I want. So you know what happens when that happens? You just kind of regroup. Coming in here, trying to see those outlines. She says, not all projects come out the way you intend. And sometimes you do them live and I don't know, I hope it demonstrates to people that it's okay to have things not come out the way you expect the first time around. I'm going to leave this and set it aside and see what happens to it. This one was the grape leaf. So I'm using some different greens here. And I'm going to, I think the bigger images work better. So I'm putting different greens down, and that embossing powder is definitely resisting the color. But as long as there's enough space in between, I'll maybe get a good looking image there. I don't know. Not coming out great, you guys. Let's do our grapes as holly. And I'm going to let that set aside and dry and come back here to this bigger stamp, which I think we might have more success because I can get color inside of the lines, where on those tiny stamps, it seems like there's too much resisting going on. But on this, which has a bigger area between, so there's more chalky paint laid down here and not just the plasticky, which is what embossing powder basically is little grains of glossiness that resist. But if we get the color in between there, that's looking pretty good, right? So this is our experiment is telling me that what seems to work best for this is not the tiny stamps that I tried to use, but these bigger. There, that's way nicer. So now we're having a little bit of success. I'll still figure out what to do with those small ones, but these bigger stamps, ooh, I don't know if I've seen blue in a lead like that. But this, good morning, Royce. It's good to have you here. So I am laying the paint into, yeah, definitely a better effect when you have more exposed area. And you see how I hope you can see it, trying to come closer to that camera. The embossing lines are resisting the paint, but there's enough space that the color can lay in between those. My first ones were, I think, too small. That was a, do we call it a fail? That was a lesson. That was a lesson in what doesn't work as well. So what doesn't work as well are very small stamps with not enough surface area between them. But this one that has, I'm loving that. And just letting the colors like they look to me on a real fall leaf. They just kind of model along. There's moldy spots and there's clear, beautiful spots. And I'm laying in orange and So I think I'm going to have better success today with these bigger stamps and fall leaves, and my attempts at the tiny ones are going to need some more work. Maybe the chalky paints will work better on that. So I'm going to grab some chalk paint. I'm going to roll this around a little and let those watery washes sort of blend on the leaf. And we'll let it dry on its own while I grab a little chalky paint. And yes, I do have all these supplies right here in my kitchen, much to my husband's dismay sometimes. I don't think I have any green chalky paint today, but I have some red here. So let's just see if using the chalk paint on the smaller stamps works better. So get the little one back again. Sherry, what are you say yours too, but I don't, oh, your kitchen, I bet that you have supplies all over your kitchen. My husband says, I have a loft, I have a shop, I have all of these things. You know, why do I also need, and I don't really know how to answer that, except everywhere I go, there I am. And yeah, that's kind of cool. The chalk paint doesn't resist as much, so we could probably use that to good effect. I will continue to work with that technique. I got to tell you, I'm less than thrilled with this, but that happens. We are here together learning and being real. Our husbands should form a support group. I think you're right, Royce. And I know I irritate him sometimes, well, often probably, but he's my number one supporter for sure. Oh, look at this guy. So this came out better than I thought it was going to. The resist that happened in this leaf, can you see it? I want to get it in the camera in a good way here. Trying to, yeah, I don't know. How's that? You can see the leaf resisted and the paint kind of balled up around. And I love the way that's looking. I'm going to add a different bit of shade of green in here and let it do that some more and pull up and resist. The berry part, which I think were grapes, we're going to do that again too and just see if I can get the resisting. Yeah, I know it doesn't look like much, but we can add some detail in there with black in a bit. I'm going to come back to what I think is the most successful one, and that is this bigger leaf, which is why I ordered these bigger 4-inch wood rounds. I think the bigger round is going to let us use a stamp that has more surface area. We'll get the lines in there from the resist of the embossing, but there's plenty of area that is just the chalky paint that will accept our paint and not resist at all. I do have markers. These happen to be oil-based markers. We're going to hit some of this. I'm going to dry it for the sake of the video. Usually I like to let my watercolor paints just, oh, I bet it does, Royce, with the peonies and the sunflower, because you have all that surface area that would receive the paint and you'd have plenty of room to show the resist. Melting the tablecloth. Let's go over here. Maybe that's good enough. We don't want to melt the vinyl to the table. That could be a road too far, a bridge too far. Is that what they say? A bridge too far. Is that dry? I think it's about dry. So watercolor, I'm grabbing a couple of oil-based markers because oil-based markers, they might be the last thing I do on here. But they'll write over most anything. So I'm just kind of getting some detail in there with this marker on top of the embossing and on top of the watercolor. So we have some more detail there. You can see that detail. I think I will add a little bit of, we're experimenting, you guys. I don't know, do I want to use black in there? I might use brown. I'm going to use a brown oil-based marker, little bit on the leaf to see if I can add detail without, I don't want to draw all the lines and have them be, harsh drawn lines, but just a little bit of detailing. I think I like it. And before it dries, even though it is oil-based, because we're experimenting, before it dries, I'm just going to hit it a little bit, see what happens. Nope, it dried really fast. But I like it. What do you think? I'll get a close-up of this. I'm going very lightly around those edges with this oil-based marker, maybe a couple little moldy spots. Wipe that away. So the technique, right, is over white chalky paint or gesso, doing the stamps with embossing ink, embossing powder, and activate that so it melts and it becomes this resist that leaves areas white because I was using white or clear embossing powder. You can add details back in the end with a paint marker of some sort. I think that's sort of cool looking. I will maybe add a little glitter or something later off camera because I'm a fool for the beautifully placed glitter. There's a difference between the glittering I did as a child and the glittering I try to do now as an older child. I don't know. Is this success or is this just fun playing? Fun playing is a success for me as well. I'm digging the leaf, not so much the flower. So I'm going to move this around, try not to overwork it, but let it run off the embossing. I don't think this is one of my best projects, you guys, but we're keeping it real here at Liza Jane Designs, and not everything is a smashing success. One of my favorite teachers over the years has taught me that if I don't like it, well, I'm just not done yet. So I'm going to go with that thought. And off camera, let me make my bigger self bigger here. Off camera, I will continue to work on these guys. Playing is important, and not being afraid to make mistakes is important, because you know what? I have this wood round. If in the end I love it, then it's done, and I can turn it into my gratitude garland. Something I'm thinking about doing anyway is for Thanksgiving. I like the idea of having people who are here, put something on the back that they're grateful for and the date. And in the front, it's all just a pretty decoration. And in the back, there'll be a record of us being together and counting our blessings literally onto this gratitude garland. So I'm going to give that a go this year. I'm going to keep working on this guy. I think he has potential, but if I don't like them, I will paint over them and give it another go. So we can always learn. If it's not a smashing success for an end product, it's usually a good lesson in what works well and what doesn't work as well. And sometimes I find the best techniques by playing around and failing at what I really, intended in the first place. So I am going to sign off now from my kitchen, clean up my mess a little bit, and I'll keep playing around with these. And if I have good success, I'll post some pictures in the tribe. But I think it's a fun technique. And I'm going to do like Royce suggests here and play with this with some of the bigger stamps, the peonies and sunflowers. I can imagine that to be just gorgeous. We'll get the batik kind of look going on, and I love that. So stay tuned for developments, and thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, probably live from the shop. I appreciate you all. Remember, find your local stockist, or come visit me at Liza Jane Designs in Afton, Minnesota. Stockists love our people, without exception. Remember it. And I will catch you again soon. Goodbye, Royce. Goodbye, Sherry and Gracie and Terry and everyone who joined in. I so appreciate you. Next time. Bye.